Today we will create this face with wild colors and black outlines. Hi everyone, it's Miss Rebecca. You'll need a white piece of paper, a watercolor set, and something black to outline with. Let's get started. With a pencil, we're going to draw the side of the face. Start at the top of your paper and draw a long curve. It comes all the way down to the center of your paper. Now, that's just one side of the face. We're going to stop at the bottom where the chin would be, and we're going to create the chin by curving upwards now and drawing the bottom of the face here and the chin, and we're starting the cheek, but we're going to stop there because half the face will be covered today. Now, the face is going to be peering over her shoulder. So we're going to draw the shoulder now, right, with a curve. And the curve should touch the cheek here, just like that. And the curve is also going to be connected to this vertical line that goes all the way down to the bottom of your paper. That's her shoulder. It also looks kind of like a candy cane. Look at that. Okay. Now we're going to create some wavy long lines. It's going to connect to the side of the face here. So start at the top of your paper and create this bump or this curve that connects to the face and connects to your little candy cane shoulder and goes all the way to the bottom of your paper. It's just kind of like a long wave from the top to the bottom of your paper. We're going to repeat that wavy line, and it can be as many bumps as you like. It's just going back and forth, a wavy long line from the top of your paper to the bottom of your paper, just like that. We're going to do that again, and again you're starting at the top of your paper and you're making a curvy wavy line with as many bumps as you like from the top of your paper to the bottom of your paper. That represents the hair on one side of her face. Okay, now we're going to start the hair on the other side of her face. Start at the top of your paper and follow the curve of the face. Follow it down and then start to wave it or curve it in those long bumps all the way to the bottom of your paper. That's the first line here. Now, the next curves are going to be a little bit different because they're going to stop at a certain halfway point. So we're going to stop right about where the next shoulder will start. So you see where the shoulder was here on the right side? We're going to line it up so that the shoulder starts there on the left side. We're going to do the same thing, just a simple curve to represent the top of her shoulder. And that curve is going to just come down and try to make it the same size as the other shoulder. We're going to cut it off with a little diagonal line here. So go ahead and draw a slanted line there. And we're also going to draw another diagonal line starting at the chin and connecting to the shoulder here. And that's going to be the neck. So you see we have now two diagonal lines, but they're going the opposite ways. Now let's continue her hair on this side. We're going to draw that long curve. Just follow it and stop at the shoulder. We're going to repeat that again here through the center. And this center curved line is going to be doubled. So just pretend you're making a little pathway right here. I'm just following it through here because that's going to be a white stripe there. Okay. Now, we're going to start the eyebrow at the top of the face. So you're drawing a curve that starts at the top of the face. The curve comes down to the center, and you're making the slant of the nose here through the middle of the face and a little tiny little diagonal for the bottom of the nose there. And now we're making a little arrow. So you know an arrow is a vertical line with a little V shape, V letter. And the arrow points downwards. That's going to represent the top of the lip. And the sides of the mouth are just created with these diagonals that go downwards. Kind of looks like two little mountains, doesn't it? Now in the middle of the mouth, I like to make these two little arches here, like two bumps, bump, bump. And that's the middle of the mouth. And we're going to give her this voluptuous bottom lip. Just means like a big bottom lip with a curve. So I'm starting at the sides of the lips, and I'm going to make this long U-shaped bottom lip here. And there's her top lip and her bottom lip. Now we're going to just draw a line that connects here and here, because we're going to divide the face into two colors. Now find where that eye is on one side. It should be like in the middle here, in the middle of this nose part. We're going to start at the nose, and we're going to draw a long curve that goes all the way from the nose to the side of the face. That curve comes up and comes down. We're going to repeat another curved line, but this one's a little more subtle or a little less curvy, but it still has a little curve to it, and that is going to create the eyelid. Now the inside of the eye is a half circle, so you're not drawing a full circle, just sort of a half of a circle or a U shape. We're going to repeat that same half circle one more time. There we go, or U shape. Now draw a mini little circle towards the top left there, and that's going to stay white. It's going to look like light is reflecting in her eye. All right. Now the bottom of the eye. The bottom of the eye is just a curve that follows the shape of that half circle, and we're bringing it to a point towards the center of the face. And there she has her big, beautiful eye. Let's give her a thick eyebrow here, and that gives her face a nice attitude. Okay. Now a little detail on the bottom. We're adding some curves just to represent her chest area. Simple, simple. See how that looks? Okay. Now, we still have to cover where that other eye would be. So, depending on how much space you have there, we want it covered with a wavy line, so it looks like her hair is covering one side of her face. So make sure that you add your curve covering where that right eye would be. I'm just adding my curve. Bam, done. Now, you can use a black marker, you could use a black crayon or oil pastel, you could even use black paint. But whatever you decide, it's up to you. If you just have a pencil at home or a crayon, use it. Outlining just means you're very carefully tracing over your pencil sketch and you're defining your lines. So I have this on a faster speed, but you can take your time to do your outline because it's detailed here. We're outlining, so we have to kind of go at our own pace as long as we are right on top of our sketch line. I decided to use a black oil pastel just because I like the darkness of the oil pastel, but the same effect can be done with a crayon and it can be done with a marker. You could even do this with black paint if you have a steady hand. Go for it. So I'm outlining every part of the drawing that we did with the same thickness of line. Just take your time. Follow those wavy lines of the hair and notice that I'm working from left to right and then from top to bottom. Now I'm working from left to right so my hand doesn't smudge the black as I go. I'm trying not to make any smudgy marks. There we go. My outline is complete. Now, we're going to fill in certain parts with solid black. So I'm going to fill in these two sections of the hair on this side with a solid black. I'm just filling it in nice and solid. Not a lot of parts will be filled in with solid black. just this part, and we're going to leave a little white stripe coming through her hair there. And so that way it's going to look like light is shining on her hair. And then we're going to go ahead and fill in the other side with a solid black. And go ahead and blow off any little crumbs that might have appeared. We're going to fill in her eyebrow here with solid black. And we're going to fill in the pupil part, which is around that white circle in the middle of her eye. So go ahead and fill that in. Be careful that you keep that white circle clean, because that represents the light hitting the eye. Okay. Now we're going to thicken up certain lines. Certain lines will be thick and others will be thin. So the top of her eye here with the eyelash is darker and thicker. The bottom of the nose here is going to be a little bit thicker. And the middle of the lips, where the lips would open, is a little bit thicker. Okay, now I'm just picking out parts of the hair that I want to have thicker lines. So I'll have one part of the hair be nice and thin, and then the next line will be thick, and then one will be thin, and the next line will be thick. This is called line variation. Just means you're varying the width or the thickness of your lines, and that creates a visual interest. This makes your drawing a little more interesting to look at. So I'm just selecting parts of the hair, and notice I'm working from top to bottom again and continuing the line all the way to the bottom. There we go. I'm also going to make the shoulder that's in the front, this shoulder here, I'm going to make that line a little bit thicker, and it will make that look like the shoulder is in front and the other shoulder will recede and look like it's in the back. All right, so now we're going to start to paint. When I paint, I like to start with the lightest colors first. So that would be my yellow here. Now remember, we're going to be using wild colors for the face, not realistic colors. So I'm going to use yellow for one side of the face, and I'm just going to do right underneath the eyebrow, and I'm going to do right underneath the eye here. I'm using a lot of water in the paint to activate the paint. So I'm just doing one side of the face yellow. Okay, now I'm going to create a color. It's called teal. Teal is kind of like aqua as well, or just like a light blue with a little bit of green in it. So I'm taking a lot of water in this part of my set, and I'm making a puddle of water and then putting green and blue, green and blue, green and blue, and a lot of water until I've created enough of this teal color to continue with the painting. So I'm going to put this teal color in the opposite part of the face, or the right side of the face. So I'm just going to fill in all this part of the face, being careful not to touch the yellow paint, because if I touch the yellow paint, it's going to all bleed and blend together. I'm also going to make the color part of the eye teal, and then I'm going to pick out parts of the painting that I want to be teal as well. Since I have it, I'm going to make the chest part here teal, and then I'm also going to make part of her hair teal. So since you have it, do all the parts that you want teal all at once. So I'm just going to pick a part of her hair, whatever section you want, but I don't want it to be right next to the face, because the face is teal. So I'm going to leave a little space and pick a part of the hair that's a little bit further away from the face. using my teal. I might need a little bit more teal, so what I'm doing is taking the blue and the green and the water, and I'm mixing it up in my little palette area here. And if you don't have a little mixing palette, you could do that on a plate or really whatever you have at home that you can get paint on. There we go. I'm just gonna fill in this whole section with this beautiful teal color. And there we go. Now, I want this painting to look like very, very solid colors. So I'm gonna go over certain parts of it again, just so it looks extra solid. You could do that too if you like. Okay, now, you see how I'm going over it? I'm just going over it because I want that teal to be very solid. Okay. Now the next color that I would like to use, I think I will pick a purple. But you guys can pick any colors you like, you know, because this is wild colors. So there's no right or wrong answer. Okay. Now, purple's tricky on a watercolor set because it looks so dark. So just make sure you have the right color before you put it on. So now I'm gonna pick the left side, sort of randomly. Just pick the side that you like and start painting in one section with the color that you chose. So I chose purple for my next color, and I like to work left to right, so that way my hand doesn't get too much into it. And I'm just painting this section of purple all the way down on the side of the shoulder there. And take your time, make it nice and solid, just like I did here. All right. I'm going to stick with my purple, putting a lot of water in that little purple section. And I'm going to paint the shoulder that is right under her face. I'm going to paint that whole shoulder with purple. Filling it in solid. Okay, it is looking beautiful. I'm liking the way the yellow and the teal and the purple are looking. Now I'm going to pick another color. I think I'll pick blue. So now I'm just going to use a very solid blue, and I'm going to do the next section right here with my solid blue. Now when you paint, make sure you hold the paintbrush just like you were holding a pencil. So it's the same idea. Ooh, I like this blue. So this blue, I'm going to keep putting water into, and that activates the blue. I'm going to do this whole section of her hair with the blue. I'm very careful that the blue is not touching the purple, because what would happen is they'll blend together if they touch. So you have to be very careful that you're not bleeding the colors together. So you're just staying within the lines until it's as solid and as beautiful as you like. So now I have purple, teal, blue, and yellow, and I really like how it's looking. I'm going to pick another section here, and I'm going to continue with my blue. I'm going to make this part here a nice solid blue. And it kind of makes it look like she has dark hair, because so far the colors in her hair are blue, teal, purple, and black. And those are all cool colors. And I'm making sure to be very careful. Okay. Beautiful. I like how it's all working out. Now, of course, you can use whatever colors you like. Or you could follow my colors. It's up to you. I'm going to go with orange next. Orange will make a nice contrast to all these darker, cool colors. I'm going to change to some warm colors now. So warm colors are oranges and reds. I'm going to put a little bit of orange in this shoulder. And that really makes it pop. The orange next to the blue and next to the purple. It looks really nice right there. I'm also going to add a little bit of this orange under the face in the neck area. So this is the neck, right above the shoulder, between the face and the shoulder. And that's really going to make a contrast between the purple and the teal. That orange. The orange really breaks it up in a nice way. All right. Now I'm going to use some red, because I think red is going to make this all come together. So with the red, I'm going to paint in her top. So she has this nice little shirt on. I'm going to paint the whole top with red. And then this side, this whole side, I'm going to use red. So I'm going to very carefully paint the right side of this picture with red. And that is going to really make a contrast or a difference here. Look at that. Hold your paintbrush like a pencil, and you'll have more control over your paintbrush. Hold it just like a pencil. Now, her lips, I'm going to make those lips bright red. So I'm just going to very carefully fill in the bottom lip and the top lip. And make sure it's nice and solid. It's looking beautiful. I like it. Okay, wow, that really pops. Now I've noticed my dark blue is bleeding into my teal. You see what happens when they touch? It's okay. If that happened to you, you can always fix it later by going over it again. I'm going to add a little purple in the top of the eyelid here, just to finish it off. I'm going to leave part of her hair white on both sides, but notice it's very skinny part of white on one side and a very thick part. It's finished. I love it. Post your stuff on Google Classroom. Thanks, guys.